Good afternoon, everyone. The news headlines are trying to hijack the amount of tornadoes, even though there were more back in 2003. If it really was because of climate change, 2018 wouldn't be the first year with no violent tornadoes, would it? And while the news headlines and politicians run with the tornadoes caused by climate change, why don't we talk about corn running? The final planting dates being missed, they're going to make our prices skyrocket. And these things about the carbon tax, we're not going to swallow that. That's a suppository. And during these uncertain times, I've teamed up with Patriot Supply long-term food storage. A nice, affordable starter kit, 2-week food supply, 1,500 calories per day, breakfast, lunch, and dinners, plus the 4-gallon storage containers included in that. This is a good first step in getting more self-sufficient. And if you click through the Prepare with Adapt 2030 page in Patriot Supply, you can get this starter kit for $75. Please remember there's a limit of 2 per household in this special offer. Now, the spate of tornadoes that's ripped through the United States, devastating, and I hope those people are safe, and I wish them the best in rebuilding. But the news media has hijacked this event to try to prove climate change, relabeled as climate extremes now, is because of CO2. But when we go back and we actually look back in 2003, there were more tornadoes than this current outbreak. And if we look at NOAA's own data, back from 1954 to 2018, you can see several years prior that actually had more devastating tornadoes. So this whole thing that it's all caused by CO2 and it's runaway climate change, I don't understand that, because just last year, 2018, would be the first year with no violent tornadoes. So if it was supposed to be this buildup and it's ever getting warmer, and more extreme, then last year should have been extremely off the hook, but it was so placid. So what are you telling me, that climate change now causes no tornadoes and then climate change causes tornadoes? And it's all being hijacked for political purpose, as usual, on par. But Dr. Roy Spencer trying to explain why so many tornadoes are happening this year, with AOC and Bernie Sanders saying it's climate change. You got to understand, these tornadoes require strong wind shear. And then that second paragraph right there, the conditions exist when cold air masses slam against warm air masses. And it's stated, winter has refused to let its grip go in the western United States, even snowing yesterday in Montana, Arizona, and the all-time record cold, and snows across Colorado. So this has created this persistent cold air mass, and then you get these strong wind shears at the boundaries between the warm and cold, and this year's had the record cold. And as we move deeper into this grand solar minimum and the wandering magnetic poles on our planet, things are going to get very strange. And the intensity ramp up is natural, but they're going to try to hijack it and say it's CO2. Because when you look at this annual trends of violent tornadoes from EF3 to EF5, those top 2 lines there, 2008 and 2011. So again, this instant jump up and change because of climate change shouldn't have been like that. It should have been a linear step up with each year more CO2, each year more intense storms, but you can obviously see that is not the case. But what is the case that nobody's talking about is the chaos expected to leave record corn deficits and unplanted acreage, which in addition to the wheat, is going to make your prices skyrocket. Take a look at the corn planting here. Look all the way up there in Nebraska, 25%. Look at Ohio, 22%. Indiana, 22% as well. And Iowa, dismal this year compared to the national averages. And then here we are marching right past all the final planting dates before the farmers can claim federal crop insurance. Now they're going into wet planting. In order to get this insurance, they have to make an effect to try to get in and plant those fields. They know it's not going to even germinate or come out for any types of yields. Yet they're going to go in there and going to plant. And the USDA is going to count that as planted acreage when they know absolutely zero yield or incredibly dismal yield is forthcoming. But we'll definitely get to see what the yield estimates are around, let's say, late August. And when we march into September, Oh my, how our food prices are going to skyrocket at that point. Because when you look at AgWeb, the corn planting map, I even put the blue box there to make it easy to discern. You're looking at the May 26, 2019 number, and then over on the right there, that is the average comparatively to the date. So keep in mind, they're wet planting, which means they're putting seeds in standing water in the fields so they can get the crop insurance. This is nothing about having any hope of any yields coming out. It's just about getting your machine on the field so you can get paid from the government because you attempted to plant. So these are fictitious numbers. They're real in terms of acreage planted, but in terms of actual yield coming out or expected yields, oh my, what a smoke and mirrors pony show this is. And if we're looking at the intraday corn already, going back to May 12th, what do you think it's going to be like when they come and realize there's very little yield coming out of the United States this year? And China's just in as dismal of shape for their corn. They're out scrounging around right now. They took full delivery just today. They were trickling along, trying to play the trade tariff game, but now they took full delivery on a full shipment because they are not planting either. And almost 60% of the corn on this earth is produced by these two nations, and they are both in dire straits for production. And if you don't think your prices are going to rise and everything's going to go right along with it, all we have to do is take a look at 1994, right when that massive floods occurred in the Midwest as well. And I circled it in orange because this time that straight up vertical rise is going to go higher because now it's intertwined with Chinese losses. And somehow they're going to spin it that it was all CO2 and try to sell you another carbon tax, and you expect me to swallow that? And of course, no, AOC will say, it's a suppository, dude. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Distant early warning on your food pricing and your lives. I'll see you next video.